What's going on, team? Welcome to an episode of the Keep Going Podcast, Season 2. This is your co-host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Before the show starts, make sure to follow us on our socials, okay? Twitter, the Keep Going Pod, Insta, the KG Podcast, and YouTube at the KG Pod. Just a reminder that we are not psychiatrists and not psychologists, just a couple ex-athletes trying to make a difference and end the stigma of mental health. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get to the show.
That keep going moment.
My keep going moment.
That's my keep going moment.
Let's keep going. Welcome, team, to an interview episode of the Keep Going Podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. I'm your host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Webb School of Knoxville today, and I'm joined by Dakota Fitzsimmons, coming out of Webb School of Knoxville. Dakota, how are we doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So Dakota's a co-worker of mine over here at Webb School of Knoxville. We're blessed to be able to educate the youth over here and kind of have a little bit of a positive impact on a great campus. Dakota, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Tell them about your educational history real quick before we get going.
Yeah, from Maryville, Tennessee. I went to King University. Their main campus is in Bristol, in that Johnson City. They call it, I guess, the Tri area.
Yeah.
So that's where their main campus is. My wife actually went to Milligan, which is up there as well. She played college basketball up there. But I actually went to the Knoxville campus and got my bachelor's and master's from that same location here at King, and got my bachelor's in communication, and then my master's in secondary education with a focus in history. So,
Okay, talk me through that a little bit. So you went communication right out
yeah.
of school, and then you kind of decided to get back into education with the second degree. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, actually, all roads were leading to the education path. So after I had done my 2 years, your freshman, sophomore year, I didn't immediately get into the School of Education. Just not because of my GPA or test scores. It was just a couple of those requirements that I did not meet for whatever reason. I had a chance to maybe go to a couple other schools and get right into the program.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I was like, hey, I'm already invested. It's going to take me 18 months to just get a degree. Then we'll jump in because I want to have a master's anyways. So that's kind of how that happened.
Smart guys.
Yeah.
You double doctor guys. Come on now. I love that. So cool, man. So after you graduate with that master's, where did you end up after that? Did you come straight to Webb School or?
Yeah. So I had been coaching here at Webb when I was in college. I'd been coaching here football since 2016. And then when I graduated with my master's in education, I subbed here for half a semester, and then got blessed enough that the seventh grade social studies position came open as I was subbing here, and then applied for that job. And that's currently what I teach today, seventh grade social studies.
Hey man, things work for a reason, don't they?
Yeah, it works for a reason. Yeah, so this is I couldn't ask for a better place than Webb. I love the family atmosphere here. Like, the sense of community here is second to none. In my opinion, you won't find a better place than Webb School of Knoxville. If you're looking for that family oriented place, it really is top notch.
Absolutely. That's kind of our new mantra for the year, connection, community, and care. And that's really big in our campus. Our new president kind of brought that mantra here. And I think, he brought it because of what he saw around campus, not because that's what he wanted to instill in the campus, right? So he kind of just wanted to keep that ball rolling. And it was really cool that somebody from the outside saw that as soon as they came in.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I was staying here after my first year. Absolutely loved it. Have a great department head, have great leaders in the upper school that kind of take care of you and really show you along the way. And same in the middle school with you.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, middle school.
Yeah, so it's a great community.
And you can tell, having lunch at the lunch table and stuff, the camaraderie, which is
hey, got a little heated today. It got a little heated today.
I love it. But the camaraderie, but that's part of it, is being able to, kind of dig at each other, but at the same time know that everybody cares for each other. And man, the camaraderie between the faculty and the co-workers and, your bosses here, like I said, it's top notch. It is, it's second to none in my opinion. I love it here.
Absolutely, man. And I think it's so cool that, I'm friends with 4 or 5 of the middle school teachers.
Yeah.
And that's just a really unique thing to have here. And I think it helps us know the kids better and know how to teach the kids better a little bit. I think it adds to that classroom environment as well, which is a really positive thing and something special that we get to do here. Moving on to the sports kind of topic. We are a sports podcast about the mental health side. And you've been coaching football for how long did you say? You're on your 7th or 8th year here?
Eighth year here.
Okay.
But overall 13 years.
Yeah, overall 13 years. So you've seen a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right? You've seen a lot of stuff. So you've coached a lot of kids. You've taught a lot of kids in your classes. Specifically, you're the offensive coordinator here. You've done that for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, you're the quarterbacks coach. You're still coaching the quarterbacks as well. And something interesting to me about the quarterbacks position, same kind of thing with the goalkeepers that I coach at Maryville College. It's a leadership role on the field.
No, for sure.
Right. Is that something you kind of specifically touch on with your quarterbacks, or do you mainly talk X's and O's with them? How do you kind of approach that subject with them?
Oh, no, being the quarterback, it's everything and above. You not only X's and O's do you have to know everybody's position and what they're doing, including the offensive lineman, and
absolutely
where your protection's coming from. But also, when you're the quarterback, people are looking at you. You probably get way too much blame for when we win and way too much blame for when we lose. But the quarterback position is one that, in my opinion, is one of the hardest in sports, and it takes somebody special to do that. Because if you're struggling, maybe offensively that night, you're the guy that everyone's looking to. You're the voice in the huddle, and you're usually the face of the team. So
absolutely,
I love coaching the quarterbacks. We talk a lot about care, love, joy. When adversity hits, how do we break down that adversity wall and keep thriving? And of course, when you add the X's and O's on top of that, with football, that's just, that's the.
I think it's super important, and something that I see in you that I love, and one reason why we kind of talked about you coming on this podcast is that positivity piece, right? And the culture in sports has kind of changed in the last, I guess I would say 10 years, but also, I'm 27, so that's me coming into college, and that's just kind of my perspective on it. It could be the last 15 or so. There's a lot more positivity that goes into coaching now than kind of just hard knocks, put your nose down and go for it, which is also, completely acceptable way to coach. I coach a lot of my goalkeepers like that, depending on the kid's personality type and things like that. But kind of where I'm going with this, man, I love your positivity, and how much do you talk about that kind of energy that the quarterback can give the team in a positive manner?
Oh, yeah, every day. I think that it's important before you can coach a kid hard, you first got to let them know that you love them. And I don't know if this is maybe really part of that question or not.
No, absolutely is. Go ahead.
But I try my best to let the kid, whether it's the quarterback or all the position, for a long time, it was just the quarterbacks for me. Now, overseeing the offense, I try to reach out to all the players, but before you can really coach them hard, to me, it's like, you got to let them know that you care and that you love them first, and that's something that I've learned, over the years, and listened to a lot of mentors of mine, and just kind of seeing it firsthand as well is, when the kid or the player knows that you care about them first, just formally or foremostly, and then they know that you love them and you want their best interest, then obviously it's a lot easier to kind of get after them, when you need to. And I've also been a big believer too. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but to me, the coaches that are just always out there yelling and screaming all the time, if you really kind of peel back that layer, those are the ones who maybe don't.
How
really
much of that is getting across?
Well, how much is that getting across? And then also, those also might not be the ones that really know it all.
Exactly.
They're kind of trying to yell and scream to make up for their own lack of self-confidence or knowledge or whatever it is. So yeah, I think the first part is just letting the kids know that you love them, that every day, it's a new day and we're going to patch you up, and we're going to praise you when you do good. And we're going to, correct it when it needs to be corrected. But I think that would be the main thing that I try to do is show love first, and then,
Absolutely. And I think that's the important part, right? We're going to patch you up when you deserve it. We don't have to tear you down when you don't deserve praise, right?
Exactly.
But we are going to hold you to that standard. I think what I've noticed, and I'm still pretty young and learning a lot about how to be a good coach still to this day, and going to continue to keep learning that.
No, we all are.
But man, I tell you, the most fun kids to coach are the ones that love it when you give them critiques, are the ones that love it whenever you give them that. I don't want to say negative feedback, but ways to improve.
Right.
And they take that and then they initiate it the next play or the next. In soccer, I wouldn't say play, but the next scrimmage that we have, they think about those situations they're in, and I really see a positive difference because they're willing to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a really impactful for all our athletes out there that listen to this podcast. That's a really good trait to have.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to reflect on your decision making in games, especially at the quarterback decision, right? You got to go through your reads. Are you looking at the right reads? Well, what was the play call? All that good stuff. But just be willing to listen to your coach and work with them and not against them. I think that's just a super important trait for our athletes out there.
What I tell I tell our players, do this all the time, is hey, we're all in this together. It's not me or the quarterback or the wide receiver. We're all in this together. And last year we had a really good run. We actually finished the regular season undefeated, but there was a couple adversity moments where we had to come together as a team to kind of get the job done. And I actually kind of leaned on that. What I just said is, I remember specifically in the locker room at halftime of one of the games we won, is things were just not clicking the way that it should. And I said, hey guys, we're all in this together. Hey, you're fighting, I'm fighting. We're all in this together. Let's regroup and go do what we do. And, sometimes you just got to say it out loud and kind of remind people like, hey, we're all rowing the boat together. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be perfect every time. And I think that's, the practice makes perfect mantra is a great one, but it's just not true. Right. And we talked about this a couple podcasts ago. Trying to remember, it wasn't Marta's episode. Okay, DeJuan Hathaway. So he's a Maryville College Scott graduate.
Yep.
Played running back at Maryville College in the early 2000s. Absolute stud running back, right? But is it a Holyfield quote or a Mike Tyson quote? Everybody's got to play until they get punched in the face. Yeah, everybody's got to play until they get punched in the face. And that's most certainly going to happen on the athletic field. So you got to be ready to adjust, and you got to be able to respond as a team, right?
For sure.
So Dakota, a little bit more on your past. Do you have a story of a coach that made a positive impact for you that kind of has mentored you and how you think about coaching today?
Oh, for sure. I tell you, growing up, I actually was the ball boy for Maryville High School. Like, I'm talking, I would go where we would have your grasshopper peewee midget practices at 6 o'clock at night, so all the dads could get there.
Yeah.
I actually would come home from school, get on my bicycle and ride over to Maryville High School and just snap balls to the quarterbacks.
Nice.
For however many years. And a lot of those Maryville High School coaches, Mike White, Joe Robinette, Larry Walker, and then of course, George Quarles, who, those guys have been tremendous mentors for me growing up and then as I got into coaching, and especially here Coach Meskey and Kevin Julian and Coach Randy Carroll. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm going to leave somebody out, but and then obviously now with Coach Mahoney, who's been a phenomenal leader for what we have or what we're doing. But I think it's important to rely on those mentors. I still talk to Coach Mike White. I still talk to Coach Quarles. I contact them, quite a bit, just when I have questions or, dealing with things. So it's important to build those relationships. And those are definitely some big mentors of mine. So
awesome, man. I love that. I talked to my college coach as well. I think the college coach and the high school coach, I say college, but I think the coach's relationship with their athletes is a really special one, right? If you nurture that relationship, you can learn a lot of things. Uh, my college goalkeeper coach, he was really pretty influential on getting me my first job
Oh
whenever I
yeah.
was coming out of college, just helping me get set up in the world and learn how to, be a worker in the
Hmm.
world. And now I was talking to him a couple times this week about,
Yeah.
hey, I've got this going on with my goalkeepers. How do I address it? How do I do this? And it's always an open communication with them and dialogue. And looking at it now from the coach's perspective, you realize how much time they give up.
Oh yeah.
And I hope the parents listening to this, and I hope the other coaches listening to this know that you're appreciated for the time that you put in.
Oh,
Right?
that's
It's not an easy thing to get your kid to practice. It's not an easy thing for the coach to miss an hour and a half or 2 hours with their family after school.
right.
So
Oh well, that the biggest one this year for me personally was my son's at the age now where he's playing,
yeah,
rec league sports, and uh his baseball, he played fall baseball, and almost every single one of his games were on a Friday night. And that's, when obviously our games are. I mean, that's a big heart pull right there. And
yeah, man.
so I would FaceTime him, before every game, about 5 o'clock. And, he'd have his eye black on. And then I talked to him about his game. He talked to me about my game. And
Uh,
it was great, but yeah, I mean, the sacrifice is real. It's, I'm, missed a lot of my son's baseball games on, to
yeah,
coach here, and but it's a good, you got to have a good family support system, which, I feel like my wife and I have, have done that. So, but yeah, the sacrifice is real.
yeah.
But
Hey, behind every good man is a great woman.
oh,
That's what I've learned.
she's not behind me; she's in front of me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
She's leading the boat.
Absolutely.
But no, it's good, man. It's you got to follow what you're passionate about, and have try to make the most out of both worlds. So
Yeah, for sure. And I think, for your son and maybe not being at all the games all the time, but he knows that you're a leader in the community. He knows that,
Mhm.
you're setting those standards early for him that, we're leaders.
Oh, for
We
sure.
take other people and we lift them up. So that's an amazing standard that you're setting for them anyway.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So kind of talking on that leadership point, I've been at Webb for 2 years now. You've been here for quite a while. Talk to me about leadership in general and the Webb football team, and talk to me about a specific kid in general that you have in mind that really exemplifies leadership
Hmm.
for you and that really helped you figure out what a leader was in the high school setting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, to me, what a leader is, it's somebody who, for instance, Coach Mahoney, this last week we actually had a tough one, and we had our first loss on the year, so we're sitting at 8-1 now, and I was pretty crushed. I
Yeah,
was pretty crushed, but even though we played well, we just didn't make the right plays at the right time. Um, but Coach Mahoney, I think he really showed his leadership skills, because the next morning he called me and he was upbeat and positive and ready to get back to work. I kind of looked at my wife. I said, "He's doing a lot better than me than I am now." I think that's what being a leader is. Hey, when tough times come, it's you know how you going to respond. And he kind of said, what he said was, "Hey, the sun rose again today, and we got a chance to get better and get back after it and get to work." And so I mean that shows his leadership. And
absolutely.
I think it's when adversity hits, or even when good times are happening. We've been very fortunate this year to have a lot of good games.
Yeah,
It's how do you handle yourself, in those moments? Are you gonna, mope and cry, or are you gonna suck it up and get better? Or, when the good times are rolling, or you gonna, just say, "Oh, we did really well," or are you gonna look at yourself and say, "Hey, there's things that we have to improve on to
yeah,
keep rolling." And so I think when it comes to being a leader, it's that. It's, how are you going to respond? Because other people are going to be looking at you.
absolutely.
And then your second part of your question there is, um, if there's one kid that kind of stands out,
I know you don't want to leave any kids out. I know that.
yeah,
So
I don't know. We've been very fortunate to have a really good kids here at Webb, and that really hold the Webb standard to what it is.
Yeah.
I can think of multiple kids off the top of my head who we say, "Hey, we need a play to be made here," and
Yeah.
they'll make it. And so there's multiple kids. I kind of don't want to
I know. I got you. I
spotlight
got
on one specific, but
you.
throughout my time here at Webb, yeah, that is something that is it's just the Webb kid, the kid who truly cares about Webb, truly cares about his team, kind of puts himself last and tries to do everything the right way.
Absolutely.
That's to me, I think that's part of the Webb way, and it's part of the Webb kid, is being that leader. So
Absolutely. So, hey, man, everything's not sunshine and roses and daisies and all those things, kind of the cliche there. And our podcast is, a little bit about mental health. It's a little bit about sports. It's a lot about mental health.
mhm.
Um, and you're at a great place in life. You're at a great school. Talk to me a little bit about how you got here. Tell me some adversity you got through to be able to get to this point in your life, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important to always have a goal, and to always have a dream, if you will, that you want to chase. This has kind of always been my dream and my goal is to teach and be at a really good school, like we both are fortunate enough to be at.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously coach and call plays, offensively. And I'm very fortunate to be at that position now, but kind of like you said, it didn't come with it. There's a lot of hard work that went into that. I think a lot of people think that, you get to just be the offensive coordinator without, when you first walk out onto a football field. But, this is, like I said, it took me 12 years of being a position coach before I even got to even have a shot at calling plays,
Yeah.
And then you just take what you've learned and what you worked for and go through that. But and then also, mental health wise, when I think about it and is, the family aspect of it, is, coaching, like, as you're a college soccer coach and a high school soccer coach.
Yeah.
I mean, you're double duty in it.
Yeah.
Man, it takes up a lot of time. And you have to have a really good support system at home. And my wife and I, we got married essentially our senior year of college.
Okay.
We were pretty young. And then after we got married, like 6-7 months into our marriage, we found out we were pregnant with our first child. And then, on top of that, getting a coaching, when you're coaching, it can be a lot in one. And so there's definitely some struggles and some talks that you have to go through. And luckily enough, my wife Tracy has been phenomenal. She her and I had some really good talks and kind of figured out the family dynamic because we're still, we were only 22, 23 years old. With doing this, being married and having a child, just kind of the marriage part was planned, but having a child right out, we were on a 5-year plan, and that 5-year plan,
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a 5-month plan, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, and you don't want to say that's adversity, but it kind of is.
Well, I mean, when you like to have a plan, when you think how things are going to go, and you got to adjust on the fly.
Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough.
Exactly. And then so having a good family support system, and they've been awesome. My son and I have a 2-year-old daughter now, but they love sports, and my wife loves sports. And but some of the struggles just to get to that point for me, some of the struggles just to get to college was statistically not in my favor, just because of how I grew up and kind of that my family dynamic there. But yeah, when adversity hits, it's to me like kind of how I went back to my first thing is, what is your ultimate goal? What is your ultimate dream? What are you chasing? And to me, honestly, I kind of always kept that in the forefront and just kind of kept going after it. So
yeah. I think that's anytime I've had to make a big decision, it always comes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right. Anytime you got to make a big decision, it feels like you got a week to make it. You got 2 days to make it. You got 3 days to make it, or something like that. And usually it's what you want anyway. Yeah. But it comes at you quick and it makes you think about it. You got to think about that goal.
Oh, for sure.
right? Who are you doing it for, and why are you doing it? I think that's something that I keep in the back of my mind. I was kind of in the same situation as you, right? At a high school, did not set myself up for success. I was in the two O's somewhere in there, GPA, trying to figure it out. And my parents, man, they worked their asses off. You know,
Yeah.
they worked so hard. My mom's a seamstress, and my dad works at Kellogg's right now. He was a manager at Kmart
Yeah.
whenever that closed down. So, you know, he had to learn how to deal with adversity and how
Oh, yeah.
to find a job after, you know, the business he's working for
It shuts down.
goes under and things like that. And he's got 3 kids that he's got to provide for. So in my family, you know, figuring out how to go through adversity was definitely prevalent, but, you know, college was not, you know, the thing to do back then. So my
Right.
dad graduated college whenever I was in middle school or elementary school.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was not definitely in our family plans for that kind of
Yeah.
stuff to happen. And, you know, I wouldn't have found Maryville College unless it was for my dad. He signed me up for the tour one day. You know, he said, we're going to go down and do this. We're going to take a day off school, blah, blah, blah. So we did that in April. And then I still hadn't made a decision in May. And he said, Luke, you're going to go to Maryville College. I was like, all right, that sounds good.
Hey, I'm just glad to make this decision for you.
Exactly. I wasn't the most motivated student, but, you know, he took his time with me, and he made sure that it was still going to be the right place for me. And
Hey,
I ended up there, and now I'm coaching there. So it works out.
Sounds like with your high school experience, though, I'm kind of surprised you even got into Maryville College.
Buddy, hey, they'll take you. They'll take you. You just got to work hard when you get there.
That's for sure.
We turned the 2-4 into a 3-2.
Oh, there you go. Good job.
Come on now.
That's awesome.
And grades aren't everything, kids, but
yeah,
they're important.
Very important.
Sure, they're important in high school.
You know, when you're in high school, that GPA matters because it's.
I'll tell everybody this: I'd be paying a lot less money if I had a little bit better grades whenever I was in high school.
Hey,
take care of your grades.
Amen to that, my friend.
Well, Dakota, I really appreciate you joining us today. If there's one thing that you want to leave our listeners with before you get off here today, what would it be?
I would say I've always been a big dreamer, I guess. You know, I had a lot of mentors in my life that said, hey, it doesn't cost a bit more to dream big than it does little, you know. So whatever it is that you want to, that you want to chase and that you have a dream, there's going to be a lot of hurdles in your life, but man, if you can keep that thing alive, keep going after it, because you don't want to wake up one day when you're 87 and be like, well, I wish I was a this or that, and so I would say, hey, if you got a dream or if you got a goal in mind that you really want to accomplish, hey, it's always take the steps to do it,
Absolutely.
And that's kind of, I've been talking to some friends of mine here recently, is like, they had some ideas about some things that they wanted to do. And I kind of was just like, hey, well, we'll do it. Like, just do it.
Nike, baby, just do it.
Yeah, just the Nike format.
You just got to start, right?
You just got to start.
The first step.
So, that's what I would leave the listeners with is, hey, you got something that you want to chase, you got something in mind, go after it and start making the steps to take care of it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for listening today. Dakota, thanks for joining us. This guy's a super positive force in our community, and that's one reason why I wanted to bring him on today. Just a super good guy, family man, knows what it's like to go through adversity and keep going in a positive manner. So Dakota, we really appreciate you for coming on today, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, Luke. You're a beautiful man.
Thank you, sir. Keep going.
See you, babe.